Yo, what's good, everyone? It's your boy, Divine Sense Boxing, back in the building, man. Hope you guys had a good Saturday morning thus far, depending on where you are in the world. For me, it is late Saturday night. Had a pretty good Saturday myself, I must say. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to get this live stream out now. Not necessarily the best time that I would like to do it. I would rather do it Saturday night, but it is what it is. I'm super stacked for me Sunday morning. And so I'm going to get it in when I can get it in. So those people who will come in later will come in later to see what I have to say about a lot of other fights that are coming up here within the next week or so, and also some potential fights that aren't technically signed, sealed, and delivered yet. And so we're going to discuss about all of that. And along the way, if anybody wants to jump in to leave any thoughts about any particular topic, the link to join the stream is pinned up at the top of the chat. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get this party started right off the top. I want to first shout out Tim Nick in the building. Was good, Tim. Mangus Allen, Omega Red, Blocker Man was good, bro. And of course, we got the demon in the building. Was good, was good, was good. All right. So no massive fights this weekend, as I know, or at least that I'm aware of. No major fights. We do typically have fights all the time. I know that Isaac Dogbo's fighting Joette Gonzalez. But I guess the next biggest fight coming up, which I'll briefly talk about, will be Danny Garcia and Jose Benavidez Jr., junior middleweights, a 12-round fight in Brooklyn on Showtime. You also have Adam Kownacki on the undercard, and also Gary Antoine Russell Jr., who's currently ranked number 9 in the junior welterweights. He's got a 10-round matchup against Rancis Barthélemy. I don't know. I probably just massacred that last name. But that's what's coming up next weekend. I'm going to try my very best to commentate live for that card. I'm curious to see what number one Danny Garcia looks like after quite a while being out of the ring. What's up, Mark? And also, let's see if Gary Antoine Russell can continue to shine. So those are the two fighters that I'm looking forward to watching. I've always spoken very highly of Danny Garcia. I always thought that he was a formidable opponent. And I think that the few losses that he has on his record sometimes gets overshadowed by other fighters. And it's funny because I was listening to I Am Trill Will speaking about Danny Garcia. I was listening to I Am Trill Will earlier. I guess it would be last night for you guys in the States. And he was talking about Spence and Crawford, which I will talk about this morning. And I made a comment in his live. And I said, in my opinion, Danny Garcia has a better chin than Bud Crawford. And obviously people were, shaking their head like, what? You know what? But think about it, though. Think about that for a moment. Now, yeah, sure, Bud has never been knocked out. He's never been seriously hurt, but he has been chin checked, and he has been caught with his chin up in the air against lesser punchers, in my opinion, in comparison to punchers that Danny Garcia has faced. So I find that quite interesting. Like I said, I did make that comment. I am Trill Will, and he agreed with my point. But like I said, Danny Garcia has always been a formidable opponent. I've always respected him and his grit, his iron chin, and his ability to always put on a good fight. So for him, this is a comeback fight, and we'll see what he does against Jose Benavidez Jr. Now, Jose Benavidez Jr. is not a pushover. He's tough in his own right. I think it's a great matchup for both of them coming back into the ring, trying to get their career back on the right track. Neither one of these guys can really afford a loss, to be quite honest with you. Danny's been in some big fights, came up short. Jose Benavidez obviously has been in a couple big fights himself and came up short. So neither one of these guys have any room for error. So that'll be an interesting fight to commentate on. So y'all can mark that on your calendars. Divine Sense Boxing will be commentating the Danny Garcia, Jose Benavidez Jr. fight, which, of course, as I just mentioned, if you dropped in, Gary Antoine Russell will also be on that card. So y'all can write that down. That fight will be in Brooklyn on Showtime. As far as a prediction of that fight, as I continue to move along, talking about other fights this morning, to be honest with you, I think Danny's going to pull it off. I don't know why. I think Danny's going to pull it off. I think that Jose is not the same as his brother. I think he's decent. But I think Danny and his experience and his chin, and I think his left hook is going to be a problem. I just think that he's going to edge it out. I see it going 12. I see it as a nice little uh, boxing match that will go back and forth at times. But I just think Danny is going to outpoint him and do enough to get the nod. So that's my prediction there. I just think that he's just a throwback fighter that's just gritty with experience, has been in there with some of the best fighters in the welterweight division. And I just think that will shine through uh, come next Saturday night. So that's my opinion. Jaron Davis in the building was good, bro. Nitty G stopping by was good. Make sure y'all hit the like button as soon as you guys come in. That shit should be automatic. Hitting that like button, get comfortable, take your shoes off. I know some of you guys Saturday morning just waking up, getting your breakfast, chilling. And I appreciate you stopping by Divine Sense to get your boxing fix for Saturday morning. A condo in the building was good, man. Always good to see you in the building as always. So, next fight that I'm going to touch on real quickly. The week after that, we've got Virgil Ortiz going off against a guy named Michael McKinson. That's also a 12-round fight. Those are welterweights. We also have Alex Martin versus Hank Lundy on that undercard. So we got quite a bit going on August 6th. So I will definitely, what's up, Arturo? Well, I definitely I'll be very busy on August 6th. I think Virgil Ortiz is going to take care of business in Fort Worth, Texas on DAZN. And then, of course, we have later on, we have the Amanda Serrano and the Brenda Carabajal. Did I say that right? And so that fight is the main card. Also, of course, under that main card, the co-main event is the Jake Paul Hasim Rahman Jr. fight. So I'll probably commentate that fight. I'll probably be commentating the Jake Paul Hasim Rahman Jr. fight leading into the Amanda Serrano main event. So y'all can mark that on your calendar as well. So back-to-back Saturday nights right here on Divine Sense Boxing, live commentary. And you guys know how I do it when I do the live commentating, man. I fucking get this shit lit. It's what I really love to do the most. And so y'all make sure you don't miss it. As soon as you guys come in, hit that like button. You guys know the drill. You got to tweak that algorithm, man. We're in here talking boxing. That's what it's all about. So make sure we let the people know what we're doing up in here. So let me give my predictions on that. Let me start off with the Jake Paul Hasim Rahman Jr. fight. And I know a lot of you guys probably are chopping at the bit for me to talk about the big fights. I'm going to get there. Y'all got to be patient. I'm going to get there. All right. I'm going down the timeline. Okay. Jake Paul Hasim Rahman, man. I've been on a few other channels, stopping by, jumping on panels here and there. Was talking to G5 about it. Was talking to DP Rocca. He'll probably drop in later. So I was running around asking people what they thought about the fight. Most people that I talk to think that Hasim Rahman's gonna win, or he should win. And the problem with this fight, and the only reason why I can't be involved in it, like emotionally, or be excited about it, is simply with Jake Paul, you don't even know like what the deal is. This dude could be putting shit in the contract saying that Hasim can't knock him out the same way he did against Woodley. There might be some stipulations on the back end, and you just don't know. It's hard to get excited for it. I can't give Jake Paul any credit until I see him really in a real fight where I actually see his opponent actively trying to put his lights out. And Woodley didn't do that to me. Woodley had little spurts here and there to try to make the fight exciting and ended up getting knocked out. There was no point in the fight. I was like, wow, Woodley's really getting into Jake Paul. And it made Jake Paul look way better than what he is, in my opinion. Okay? That is my opinion. And I'm not saying that he doesn't lack athleticism. He doesn't lack some natural ability. I'm not saying that he can't continue to get better, but I around the idea that Woodley would be that fucking terrible. Like it just doesn't an fiction. So with that being said, if we're in a perfect world and it's fair and square down the line, and oh, by the way, let me say this. If for whatever reason Hasim Rahman Jr. has signed a contract stipulating that he can't knock Jake Paul out, he signed a contract stating anything other than, purse splits and, basic contractual shit in a professional fight, then that dude is suspect. And quite frankly, he is a disappointment in regards to his father and what his father did in boxing. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to say he's not going to go down that route. He's not going to sign a contract that will set himself up for failure just for a payday. I'm going to say that he's proud of who he is. I'm going to say he's proud of his name. I'm going to say he's proud to represent his family name, including his dad, in the ring and in this charade, and humble the young Jake Paul so he understands that there's levels to this shit. All right? So I wanted to throw that out there. Now, with that being said, in a perfect world, Hasim Rahman should go in there and stop him late. Like, I think it's an 8-round fight, right? I'm going to double check. I think it's an 8-rounder. So, yeah, 8-round fight. So, yeah, it should be a stoppage, 6-7. There should be no reason why. With him being a professional boxer, him coming from the pedigree of his dad, having vastly more experience. They have sparred before. So if you take Hasim Rahman's word for it, saying that he can only use one hand against Jake Paul, it was never fair, I was beating him easily, then you would assume that he's going to stop Jake Paul in around 6 or 7 if this is a real fight. If it's a real fight, he's going to stop him in 6 and 7. As a matter of fact, he's going to outbox him and make him look silly until he stops him. Right? So I'm just putting that out there. That's my thoughts about it. But I will not be surprised by any stretch of the imagination if Rahman goes in there and starts pitter-patting, a little pitter-patter jab and occasionally throw a nice little right hand at him, get the crowd in it, play into it, and Jake Paul goes in and either gets a decision, which he'll play off like, oh, well, I couldn't knock him out because he's a real boxer. So, it's my first time, I got a decision, and I won't be surprised if that happens. And I won't be surprised if I'm right here screaming on the mic at Hasim Rahman Jr. saying, bro, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? So it could go either way. But like I said, in a perfect world, Hasim should stop this dude late. End of story. Amanda Serrano. I think she's going to do it again, man. She's full of skill, full of talent. She's one of the best female boxers to ever do it. I think she's going to defend her belts. No doubt about it. No shade at Brenda. I think Brenda is a formidable opponent. Amanda Serrano wasn't exempt of being exposed a little bit here and there in her last fight. But ultimately, I just don't see Brenda pulling it off. So I got Amanda Serrano in that one as well. Bruce Guest Boxing, Jazz and More. What's up, bro? I haven't seen you in here in a while, man. Good to see you, man. I see you bouncing around on different panels here and there. Good to see you in the chat, bro. Thanks for dropping by. The OG. All right, so that's that. Now we're moving along, guys. We are creeping closer to the big fights. I know that's what you guys want to hear me talk about. I did send invites to a lot of other channels, and they may jump in here a little bit later. We will see. And also the stream link to join this stream is pinned up at the top of the chat if you do want to jump in and leave your thoughts about any of the fights that I'm talking about. All right, then the following weekend we have Teofimo Lopez and Pedro Junior welterweight fight. So still at 140, surprisingly. Didn't Teofimo said I can't fight at 140 no more, bro. Like I'm too big for this weight class, bro. Like they forced me to fight George Kambosos at 140, bro. I can't do 140 anymore, bro. This shit's crazy out here, bro. 140, what? Like what? Now here you are, bro. 140 again. Obviously a tune-up fight. Who the fuck is Pedro Campa? Most people don't know who he is. I barely know who he is. And I see that I see Teofimo Lopez winning by knockout. Simple as that. Ain't no other way to explain that one. That he needs that. He knows he needs that. He needs the flair back into his name. He needs a feather back in his cap. He needs to be brought back into the conversations of the 140 pounders out there. He's upset that he can't be recognized the way that he was before because Mr. George Kambosos came in there and stole his glamour. So he needs to fight a guy like Pedro Campa to massage his ego a little bit. So yeah, that's a knockout. Not really too excited about it, to be honest with you. There's nothing wrong with tune-ups. I shouldn't be too harsh. But it's just Teofimo Lopez. I can't help it. And he kind of did it to himself with all of his antics and his dad's bullshit after the George Kambosos fight. It's like, bro, like you lost, bro. Like it's not the end of the fucking world. You know what I mean? He knocked you down, you knocked him down, and you gave away too much of the middle rounds. And at the end of the day, Teofimo, you did it to yourself, bro. You did it to yourself. It's not like George is like another class above you in skill. It's not like you got outboxed by Devin Haney. You got beat by George because you underestimated George and your eyes were set on Tank or Devin or whoever the fuck you were thinking about. And George came in there motivated and he got the best of you. I mean, shit. And then here came the excuses. My neck, my back, my elbow, my toe. I didn't get knocked down. I slipped. Oh, I'm weight drained. Oh, what was it? My lungs. Or no, his esophagus. My esophagus was broken. I couldn't breathe properly. It's like, bro, bro, stop it. Stop it. Well, you get your chance to shine again, get a knockout on what it's going to be on ESPN Plus. So, not a massive pay-per-view, but nonetheless, you'll have your chance to be swung back into conversation. Yeah, Johnny Q. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, my throat was blowing up, some shit like that. I've heard some excuses in my life, but he definitely came out the woodwork with some shit. So that's that. And then, guys, the big tamale. The big tamale, man. Saturday, August 20th. So we basically got 3 or 4 weeks back to back with decent fights that leads into the biggest fight that is, I guess, the nearest biggest fight is obviously Usyk versus Joshua, the rematch. So I'm about to cook on this. So get comfortable. Get comfortable. We got through some other fights. We talked about Danny Garcia. We talked about Teofimo Lopez and these other dudes. But now let's get into the big topic. This is obviously for Usyk's IBF, WBA, and WBO titles that he took from Joshua in their last fight. Oleksandr Usyk, obviously, currently number 1 heavyweight, rightfully so. And so they got the rematch, right? And it's going to be in Saudi Arabia on DAZN. I've already put my official prediction video out there. If you guys haven't seen it yet, make sure you go to my channel, search through the videos. It's there. So I think it's the most recent upload, not a live, but an upload. Y'all check that out, man. And I really break it down in detail. But look, that was like 2 weeks ago since I made that video. So now I'm looking at, 2 weeks later, you get a few more camp videos or, fight camp videos surfacing. More and more people are talking about it as the fight creeps closer. So does my opinion change? Maybe slightly. The way I look at the fight might change slightly, but I haven't changed my prediction. I think that Usyk's going to do what he does, man. I mean, for me, Joshua cannot outbox Usyk, in my opinion. He can't outbox him. Usyk is too skilled, too experienced, too slippery, too much of a ring IQ. Southpaw position, he's going to reset you. And I just don't think going in there and saying, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to try and like use my jab and try to outbox him." It's just not going to work. You have to go in and you got to knock him out. You got to set up your punches and you got to knock him out. Okay? Now in the first fight, I'm not quite sure what his game plan was, to be honest with you. I kept trying to figure it out. I just think that he was surprised. I think he was surprised at Usyk's movement, his ability to move. I mean, he's a small heavyweight. The dude was a cruiserweight, and he conquered the cruiserweight division. He knows how to move. He knows how to stay away from bigger guys. I mean, it's not his first rodeo. And I think Joshua was surprised about that. And he landed a couple of big punches there, here and there, and that first fight Joshua did, that opened up Usyk's eyes for sure. But Usyk made the adjustments, and that is where that pedigree comes into play. So he has to formulate a game plan and knock him out. That's what the game plan has to be. So he needs to find a little bit of ferocity. He needs to be a little bit ferocious in there. He needs to be an animal. He needs to impose his will. He needs to impose his size. He's bigger. He's stronger. He punches harder. He's got a long reach. He's got not the best athleticism, but it's not the worst I've seen in the heavyweight division. I mean, we remember the Klitschko's boxing, right? That was painful to watch. Joshua's not that painful. He's just not the most athletic, but he doesn't need to be. He's naturally a big, strong guy who can hurt you with either hand. So use that. Now, one thing that I stated in my official prediction video was one thing that Joshua did not do in the first fight was go to the body. I don't even know. He probably threw like 10 body punches the whole fight. How do you not go to the body against a smaller man? A man who's smaller than you, that is using different angles, that is pivoting off of punches, that is slipping and ducking and sliding and trying to pepper you with quick combinations and get out of the fucking way. How do you not go to the body against a guy like that? So it's just another indication that he just didn't have a game plan, in my opinion. And maybe he did, and it got thrown off with Usyk's movement and boxing ability, and he just ended up trying to survive the fight. And let's not forget, too, that he nearly got stopped in the 12th round. So there's clearly a gas tank issue, in my opinion. So there's a lot of things that he needs to adjust. He needs to come in phenomenal shape. He's got to be ready for go 12, and he's got to have a hell of a lot of a better game plan. So anybody out there that is rooting for Anthony Joshua, thinking, all right, Divine, what does he have to do to win? He has to go to the body. He has to go downstairs early, right? Jab to the body, step to the side, boom, right hand to the body, step in, left, throw big left hooks to the up and uppercuts to the body. Right? The head moves, the body doesn't. So that's what you got to do. And do that for 3-4 rounds. And trust me, Usyk is going to have he's going to know that he's smart enough to know, okay, he's trying to attack my body. So every time he drops to go downstairs, I want to try to loop something over the top. So you got to be ready if you're Joshua. If you drop downstairs, you got to be ready for that left hand coming through. So you're ready for that slip, right? And then eventually, man, it's just going to help so much to try to line something up big to try and hurt Usyk, right? If you can hurt Usyk and keep him on the back foot, backpedaling, you can walk him down. Okay? You can walk him down and start throwing big shots, and you can get Usyk out there. There is no doubt in my mind that Usyk can't be stopped. He can absolutely be stopped. Okay? It's not that, he's slippery and like in the same extent of like a Pernell Whitaker or a Willie Pep. The dude can be hit. He got hit in the first fight. It's just that Joshua didn't capitalize on it. So, in my opinion, you walk him down, you go to the body early, you start setting up your shots, big hard jabs to the body and head, right? Every time he throws the left hand, right? Try to step back and come over his left hand with your own right hands, right? Exchange fire and fire with Usyk, man. Fuck it, right? Exchange. He hardly ever exchanged at any point in that fight. He was too busy covering up, stepping back, and he doesn't have the athleticism to pivot out quickly enough like a Usyk can. So exchange a little bit, man. Get some fucking uppercuts in there. An uppercut, great punch against the southpaw, right? Just step over to your left, drop that right hip in there, get that uppercut in there. Bam! Get it underneath, right? And Usyk's trying to pepper with a combination. Just step in, high guard, throw a big-ass uppercut in there, man. It only takes one nice shot in this division, and Joshua's got the power to do it. Volt UK in the building was good. R. Hellenius in the building. What's good? I'm going to talk about Wilder here just in a moment, man. I see my man Platt Boys dropping into the chat, dropping that little super chat, bro. Much love and appreciation as always, man. Platt Boys, man. Thanks for joining the live stream, man. I believe I sent you a link in IG, but it's also pinned here at the top of the chat. If you want to jump in and join the conversation, you're more than welcome to. And that is for anybody that wants to jump in. Imstack's at work listening to Divine Sense. I appreciate you. All right, so look, that's what I think Joshua needs to do. What does Usyk have to do? Just be himself. Just be himself. If you're Usyk, you know that Joshua's going to try to come in, make adjustments. You know he's going to try to come in and try to do something. I mean, this is what boxing's all about. It's a thinking man's game. You got to figure out, what do you think, Josh? Because Joshua came up short, right, in the first fight. So Joshua is actually the one that has to come up with the adjustments. He's got to figure out a way to crack the code. So Usyk is, he's got his chess pieces. He's looking to move his pawns, figuring out where he's going to place his knights and his bishops on the board before he starts to move his queen to come in for the kill, right? So he's kind of on the defensive, trying to figure out what Joshua will do as far as adjustments are concerned. So if you're Usyk in the beginning of the fight, like I said, you just be yourself, gauge your distance, be safe, pepper in with shots, use your quickness, and see if Joshua can make adjustments, right? And that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? There's not much to it other than that. Now, obviously, if Joshua ends up hurting him, he doesn't have much choice but to figure out a way to probably tie him up. He's going to have to probably tie him up quickly, and hopefully he does work on that because, in a fight of this magnitude, Usyk knows in his head, look, Joshua's hungry now. There's no way he can take a loss against Andy Ruiz, come back and defend and win the rematch, and now he's lost again to Usyk, so now he's got to try to get the rematch again. It's like he's trying to be the next Lennox Lewis or some shit and try to defend all of his losses. So Usyk, man, he knows this. He knows that Joshua can't afford losing twice to the same man. And also having that Ruiz loss on his record, too, doesn't help as far as legacy is concerned and in comparing to the other heavyweights in the division, right? So Usyk is like, yeah, this guy might just come after me. He might just try to walk me down, throw big punches. I got to be prepared for that. He might come in and just try to box me for some odd reason and slide around and use a jab, do some Muhammad Ali on my ass. I don't know what. So you got to prepare for everything because you literally don't know what kind of Joshua you're going to get. Joshua, who fought Andy Ruiz the first time, no game plan. Got caught up, fighting a dude that he thought he was going to blast out there early. And Andy Ruiz got the hand speed, ended up surprising him, stopping him, right? Came back in the rematch and boxed. Worked behind the jab, made the adjustments, and Andy Ruiz was clearly out of shape and looked like shit. I don't think that's going to happen with Usyk. I think he's always in shape. He's always dedicated to his craft. He's taken this fight seriously, like he takes every fight seriously. So this is not going to be an Andy Ruiz becoming the newly crowned champion, the first Mexican heavyweight champion, and then, having fiestas and, eating nice and eating good and then training probably 2, maybe 3 weeks for the fight and clearly not in shape. And then losing a boxing match against Anthony Joshua. It's not going to be that situation. What's up, DP? Plat Boy at work. I know a lot of you guys are at work right now. I know a lot of you guys are at work right now, man. I appreciate you guys immensely for tuning in, man. Traditionally, I do these firestorms Saturday night, which I would love to do, but unfortunately, with the time zone shit, I got a lot of shit I got to do, man. So I got to get in when I can. But I do appreciate you guys taking time from work to listen in. So yeah, I'm with you, Volts UK, man. There was a time, back in maybe 2016, 17, something around that time period where I thought Joshua was extremely talented. I thought he had some pretty good upside. But something happened to him, man. Something happened to him. I don't know if it's level of competition. I don't know if it's something mental. I don't know exactly what it is. But all of those questions are on the table, man. All of it. Like, if he ends up losing and getting outboxed again by Usyk, like the way he did in his hometown in front of whatever it was, 50,000 screaming UK fans. I mean, he had everything lined up in his favor. Everything. Fighting in his backyard. Everybody's there supporting him. Everybody believing in him. And maybe that was it. Maybe he couldn't take the pressure. Maybe he couldn't deal with being the overwhelmingly favorite. When I talked about Joshua Usyk won and dropped my prediction video, and I predicted Usyk to win that fight as well, the first one, I got a lot of hate, man. A lot of hate. There are a lot of people that really, really believed in Joshua. But I think that faith is starting to lack a little bit. It's starting to slip away. It's not the same energy. Now, my prediction video for the second fight is a little bit more quiet, right? A little bit more quiet because, like I said, most people that are coming in watching YouTube are not coming in massive numbers to support Usyk. They're going to, it's Joshua, right? So I can clearly see, based off of my own videos in comparison from the first fight and the second fight, it's just not the same energy. The views are way less. The engagement's way less. And that's just an indication that people are on the edge of their seat, twiddling their fingers and hoping that Joshua gets back into the conversation against the other heavyweights. So we're going to see. We're going to see, man. I'm looking forward to it, though. Every time we get a heavyweight rematch, a lot of times heavyweight rematches are the best ones. Fury Wilder, the best one was the third fight. The second fight, no need to discuss it. But the third fight was one of the best heavyweight fights of all time. Right? So a lot of times these heavyweight matchups, the second, third fight, even the Ali Frazier trilogy, those fights were phenomenal, right? So I have a feeling, man, it's going to be interesting. I will say this. I think Usyk is going to pull it off again. I just think that Joshua just has too much of a difficult time trying to track down a guy like Usyk, southpaw, slick, super high ring IQ. I don't know, man. I just feel like he's just going to have a difficult time, even if he is more motivated. It's hard for me to wrap my head around it. My boxing mind doesn't allow me to play it out. And with Joshua, he's definitely, like I said, not going to win a boxing match. If he ends up catching Usyk and knocking him out, I'll be like, okay, yeah, that's possible. It's a heavyweight division. Joshua can crack, right? Not a big deal. But if I were to put money on it, I think Usyk goes in there and pulls off the rematch. He's the champ now, right? He's the champ now. So all he's got to do is box for 12 rounds and do well, or do well enough, even if the fight is kind of close. I will say this, though. I don't think Joshua will look as bad as he did in the first fight. And I know a lot of people criticize Joshua in the first fight. I don't think he looked bad. I just think that he was just soundly beaten. Like, like he was just in deep waters against a guy that truly knows how to box. I don't think he got destroyed. I don't think he got embarrassed. I just think that because of the hype and he lost the way he lost, people kind of made it way worse than what it really was. But I do think in the second fight, I think he's going to make a few little improvements. I think there's going to be some interesting points in the fight. There might even be a possible knockdown. I mean, he may catch something. Joshua might throw something on the inside that Usyk doesn't see, catches him, but he goes down, but gets up, goes on and wins 2 or 3 rounds in a row. Something like that. The knockdown might not be enough for Joshua to win the fight, but I think there's going to be more theatrics. I think there's going to be more moments in the fight in this rematch that is, at the very least, say, Usyk is he's just a bad style matchup for Joshua. But congrats to Joshua for putting on a great rematch. And maybe you can walk away with a little bit of gratitude. So I will say that I don't think Joshua is going to get completely outshined or outboxed or be a disappointment in ways like he was in the first fight. I think he will do better, but I don't think it'll be enough. That is my opinion about that fight. Make sure too, guys, when you guys come in, you guys know the drill. You guys are hitting that like button right away. The reason why we do that is because not everybody's going to be able to tune in and watch this live like you guys, because a lot of people are at work. So when this live stream is done, they're going to be coming watching it afterwards. So we got to get those likes all the way up ASAP. So that's that. Let's move on to the next fight. September 4th, we got another 2 heavyweights about to face off. I can't wait for this fight. There's something about this fight that has really caught my attention, and I'm really looking forward to it. And that is the Luis Ortiz and the Andy Ruiz heavyweight matchup. Now, this fight could very potentially segue into a fight against Deontay Wilder. I think there's a very good possibility that Deontay and his team, because I'll get into a little bit of Deontay here as a prelude, but I will talk a little bit about the Ruiz Ortiz fight as well. I think that there might be some tactic, I guess you can say, on behalf of Wilder's team. They may want to see how this September 4th fight plans out. Which makes sense in ways, because if Andy Ruiz beats Luis Ortiz, that's definitely a very possible matchup that can be made. I personally have been talking about a Wilder Andy Ruiz fight for the past year or so. When we didn't know if Fury was actually going to take the third fight against Wilder, because he was trying to figure out a way not to fight Wilder a third time. I was saying, well, fuck Tyson Fury then. Let's see Andy Ruiz, because at that point, Andy Ruiz wasn't engaged with any other fights. And, it just, I think it'd be a fun fight to watch for as long as it lasted. So that might be coming into play. But at the same time, it's September 4th, right? It's a whole nother month to see if Wilder announces anything, or, I just don't know. But don't be surprised if there is a little bit of tactic from Wilder's team to kind of see how this Luis Ortiz and Ruiz fight pans out. Now, obviously, if Ortiz beats Ruiz, he's not going to fight Ortiz again, right? So that's what I mean. If Ortiz wins, it's like, well, okay, we'll fight whoever's available. And maybe at the end of, October or something like that, or beginning of November. Or if Andy Ruiz wins, I'll take him. But he could, in the next couple of weeks, announce that he's going to fight somebody entirely different and let the Andy Luis Ortiz fight pan out the way it'll pan out and play it by ear and see where it goes. But in regards to the fight itself, my man, Plat Boys, I gotta acknowledge the super chat. Says Ortiz showed aging against Charles Martin. 1000%, which is gonna lead me into my prediction of that fight. Look, I think. See, the thing about Luis Ortiz, even though he's aging, even though he did, like Platboy just pointed out, showed some aging against Martin, he's still dangerous as fuck, man. I mean, he's dangerous for sure in the first 5 rounds. He's very dangerous in the first 5 rounds. Now, I personally think that Andy Ruiz's hand speed is going to give him some issues early. See, the thing I like about Andy, and he showed it against Joshua in the first fight, he's not afraid to let his hands go. And why would he? He's got great hand speed for a big guy. I mean, Andy Ruiz is the type of dude. Even though we all saw him upset Joshua, we're like, damn, this dude got some hand speed, bro. It's not the same. Ortiz could very easily be looking at him and being like, yeah, it looked fast against Joshua, but, you know, I don't think he's that fast, but he's about to find out, man. A lot of times hand speed, you don't really know how fast it is until you're in the ring and you experience it. And I think Andrew Ruiz's hand speed is going to give Luis Ortiz all kinds of problems, man. But with that being said, it could very possibly be where Andy Ruiz is letting off combos, lighting Ortiz up. Ortiz is on the defensive, and Ortiz just steps back and loads up with something big. Boom. That could be it, bro. Like, we've seen Luis Ortiz knock dudes out with his bicep. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's a big, strong dude. And when you get older, just similar to George Foreman, when he got older, he was still dangerous. Even though he'd be getting outboxed and outpunched by younger fighters, he would just catch a shot and throw something big and hard back and stop guys. You know, George Foreman did that when he came back and became champion again. And obviously was fighting heavyweights that were a lot younger than him. So definitely a possibility for Andy Ruiz to get knocked out against Ortiz. But if I were to put a prediction on it, I just think that Luis Ortiz will find himself having no choice but to be too defensive, which makes him a little bit uncomfortable, which then will force him to try to throw big shots. And if he can't land it, I think it's going to be a long night for him. I just think Andy's just going to, I think he's going to come in shape, man. I think he learned his lesson, not coming in shape against and Joshua for the second fight. And I just think he's going to come in. He's going to just be all over Ortiz. I don't know. I have a feeling he's not going to let Ortiz breathe. He's going to try to pepper him with combinations. He's going to be relentless. He's going to use his youth. And he's going to see if Ortiz can handle it or not. And Andrew Ruiz believes more than anybody else in this world that his hand speed is very deceptive. It doesn't look as fast when you're watching it on TV or ringside until you're in there. And I think he believes in his hand speed, and I believe he shocks a lot of his opponents with it. And I think Ortiz is going to be another victim of that. So it's a heavyweight division. Like I said, wouldn't surprise me if Ortiz is getting lit up with combinations, ends up throwing, landing, knocking Andy Ruiz out. But if I had to put a prediction on it, I think Andy will win in, I'm going to say 8 or 9 stoppage. I think Andy puts too much pressure on him. Bit too much hand speed, and it could be a corner stoppage, but I think that he might put Ortiz down a couple of times, and Ortiz just calls it a night. That's my prediction there. But you know, I will I will probably drop an official prediction video on that fight and see what we come up with as we creep closer to the fight actually being around the corner. But you guys are getting some VIP Firestorm access right now, man. My predictions, man. Shit, man, giving out all the good information. But that fight, everybody, is on September 4th. And if anybody's curious, we also have Isaac Cruz and Eduardo Ramirez at the lightweight. So Isaac Cruz, Pitbull Cruz is back in action on September 4th on that undercard. That fight's in Los Angeles, by the way, on Fox pay-per-view. Abner Maros is also on that undercard against a guy named Miguel Flores. The following weekend, there is Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Clarissa Shields is currently the champion, number 2 pound for pound. Savannah Marshall is currently number 1 and is ninth on the pound for pound list. And that is a middleweight fight for Shields' ring, WBA, WBC, IBF, and also Marshall's WBO title. Wow. IBF, WBA, WBC, WBO. Wow. That's a massive fight. So that's in London on ESPN Plus on Saturday, September 10th. And then, of course, we have Saturday the 17th, September 17th, that is Canelo and Triple G, which I would prefer just to wipe my ass with, to be quite honest with you. And I'm not going to even talk about that fight. I'm going to save a whole nother Firestorm panel purely to express my discontent with that fight. And it's going to be exclusive purely about that. I'm just going to wait probably until August until I start dipping into that. But I'm not going to talk about it tonight because I don't have the patience. Plaid Boy back in that super chat says intriguing part is they both can hit the canvas. Yeah, exactly. It's a great fight, man. The Luis Ortiz Andy Ruiz fight. It's a great fight. It's just a classic heavyweight matchup. Anything can happen. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to commentating it. Actually, somebody's getting knocked out. I think somebody's either getting knocked out or getting stopped. 100%. That fight is not going the distance. Y'all can bet your money on that shit. The Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz fight, it will not go the distance. I guarantee you that. So that is some money well spent if you're gonna tune into that fight. But y'all can tune into Divine Sense too. That shit's free. So choice is yours. Anyway, let me talk about Deontay Wilder, man, while I have it still fresh in my mind. And since I'm not going to talk about Canelo and Triple G tonight, I will, like I said, save that for another live stream to exclusively talk about that fight. I know a lot of channels have came out here the last week or so. 78 spoke about it and several others. We all know that 78 Sports TV is probably the closest to Deontay as far as like YouTube content creators. So his sources are quite reliable. So I more or less go off of what he says, but there have been some other people that have said some interesting things on YouTube in regards to Deontay Wilder's comeback. First and foremost, I do think that he's coming back. I would put it at about 90%. 90%. I know in the beginning there's a lot of speculation, but I think now with enough people coming forward that know him personally, that are close to people that know him personally, and I even think Tay Jones has pretty much expressed that he thinks the champ is coming back. So like I said, I put it at about 90%. Now, who he's going to fight is up in the air. Now, I guess the three main names that you can throw out there that are possible. Well, actually, there's maybe even 4 possibilities. So you got Hellenius, right? A lot of people have recently been bringing up his name as a kind of tune-up, but it's not really a tune-up. I don't know. I guess it depends on. I guess it's your opinion on whether you classify that as a tune-up or a / comeback fight. But Helenius is a tough nut to crack. He's not a slouch. He's not some heavyweight that's on a 3-loss streak or some shit like that. The dude is solid. So I don't know if you want to call that a tune-up. Maybe a comeback fight is more appropriate. So he has recently been in conversations, which totally think that fight is possible. They know each other. They were sparring partners leading up to the Wilder Fury third fight. I don't think it'll be a difficult fight to make if they were to choose that route. So you have him. You have Chisora. We all know that Chisora was kind of mentioning Deontay recently. So there's that. And maybe that's a fight where Deontay can go to the UK, maybe. And then you have Andy Ruiz. If he gets past Ortiz, that's a fight that you can make in probably November. And then, of course, you have the winner of Usyk and Joshua, fighting the winner of those two and going straight for the belts right away. So really, it's a conversation. What's up, Will? What's good, bro? So really, it's a conversation. Will, there's a link pinned up at the top of the chat if you want to jump in, bro. Willie, it's a conversation to me where it's like, does Deontay – I don't think it's necessarily a question of who he's going to fight. I think it's more of a question, does he want to come back and fight for a belt right away? Or does he want to get somebody like Andy Ruiz under his belt or Helenius under his belt first and then try to go back in there and take those belts back to Alabama? I think that is more of the question at hand. Personally, I don't give a shit what he does as long as he comes back. And I think that whatever he decides to do will be the right decision for himself. I think he's been in the game long enough. I think he has a nice team around him that will place him in the right direction. And, I'm going to be here to support him and cheer him on no matter who he chooses to fight. And a part of me wants to see a little bit of theatrics. I see a fight build up for Helenius to be somewhat, chill. They know each other. There's no bad blood. It's just a heavyweight match, and we got to do what we got to do to take the next stepping stone to whichever direction we're going. Andy Ruiz as well. It would be an interesting fight, but as far as a build-up, not so much. Now, the crazy thing is, see, to me as a boxer, this is where boxing sometimes, this is where boxing gets you, right? It gets you caught up in the cobwebs, man. Because on one hand, boxing, they be fucking us over constantly by not getting us to fights like, Spence, Crawford, and all that shit. And we're waiting for these big fights, and these fighters be cheating, popping on PEDs, and all this other craziness that we got to deal with. But at the same time, if you look at it in a positive light, although I predicted Usyk to beat Joshua in the rematch, the irony is I'm not in a losing situation. I'll get my prediction wrong, fucking whatever, right? But if Joshua ends up beating Usyk, the best fight that can be made as far as the fight buildup, the drama, is Wilder Joshua. Like, you can't get any better than that. Wilder has been calling out Joshua for years. In my opinion, Joshua ducked Wilder for years. And then Wilder, in a way, gets another crack at fighting a dude from the UK. So it lines up perfectly. And it lines up perfectly in the sense that Joshua ain't got really nowhere to go. You know what I mean? If he gets past Usyk, who the fuck knows what Tyson Fury's doing? I know that for a long time they try to build that up, a Joshua Fury matchup, but who knows what this dude's doing? So Joshua really ain't got nowhere to go. He's not going to fight Andrew Ruiz again. I don't see him fighting Chisora. I don't, if he knocks out Usyk, he's probably not going to give him a third fight. So really all roads lead to Wilder. He's got nowhere else to go, especially if Wilder comes out and, officially, like himself, comes out and says, yo, I'm back. I want Joshua. Joshua ain't got nowhere to go. And if Joshua ducks Wilder at that point, I think it's pretty clear, right? I think it's pretty clear at that point. So, like I said, if Joshua beats Usyk, which I don't think he will, but if he does, it doesn't matter. It's a win-win situation for me, and it should be for you too as a boxing fan, especially if you're a Wilder fan. Um, so, timing is the essence of, and we're gonna have to see like what Wilder's feeling and thinking right now. I guess if you want to take the safer route, the more sure route to get back into the groove and fight a pretty credible opponent and get a victory under your belt again, which will help you pressure back into a big fight. If the goal is to get belts back, a Helenius fight probably makes the most sense. Or if you want to wait around and fight or Ruiz if he gets past Ortiz. Um, because like I said, you don't want to perhaps bite off more than you can chew. If you've had by the time he gets back into the ring again, it could be a whole year, right? Because the last time he fought was last year in it was like October, right? Yeah. So by the time he comes back, it'll be a year. So there's a lot of, he's got to train, he's got to get back in shape, back in fighting shape. And so which route do you take? Like I said, you take the safe route, fight a guy like Helenius. The fight buildup may not be there, but who gives a shit? It's good to see him back in the ring. Fight a solid dude. If you can stop him, you basically bring yourself back into the conversation of Deontay Wilder is back. He's knocking dudes out again. He's a threat. And then that pressure mounts massively against whoever wins the Joshua Usyk rematch, basically. So I guess that makes the most sense business-wise if you're on Wilder's team. What's up, big dog? Big dog in the building. If AJ wins, he'll probably fight Dillian White. I'm not gonna even speak that into existence, bro. I'm not gonna even entertain that bullshit. Nah, fuck that. I ain't doing that. So for me, man, like I said, Wilder, in my opinion, I more or less agree with 78. I think he's going to come back and fight somebody like Helenius. It's a credible dude. It's a solid dude. It's a nice victory to come back with. And, at the end of the day, you guys have to remember, right? We have to sometimes step outside the box as Wilder fans and realize how the world sees him, how the sports world sees him, how the boxing world sees him. Right now, he's a man coming off of back-to-back losses. Okay? He's still Deontay. He still has that. He will always, until he officially retires for good, have that selling point of Deontay's dangerous, right? And Fury somehow is added into that theory because he's came out recently saying, "Oh, I think I got brain damage and shit like that after the Wilder fights." But at the end of the day, right? He's a man coming off 2 losses. We have to understand that on paper, that's what it is. Now we know what time it is, right? But again, that's how they're going to perceive it. Like, is he really worthy of coming straight back after a year layoff, coming back off of 2 losses and get a title shot once again, aka fighting the winner of Usyk and Joshua? That's a tough sell. So that's why I'm saying that it makes more sense to come back and fight a guy like Helenius, who is respected in the boxing circles, who's a credible opponent. Take care of business there. Then those 2 losses against Fury don't really matter as much because you're always remembered by your latest fight. We know this, right? As boxing fans, right? Boxing memory is very relative, short-lived, short memory based. So anybody that understands boxing knows that. So that makes the most sense. And you can line it up perfectly. If he announces it in August, September, October, he can fight at the end of October, beat Helenius, and by February, March, he'll be back in the ring fighting for titles once again, which gives plenty of time for Joshua Usyk to recover and also prepare for a fight. So I think if all the cards are played out right, it can turn out beautifully for Deontay if they play their cards right and everything falls into line. But obviously, yeah, the ironic thing is that I think Usyk would fight Wilder. I think he would, but I do not feel confident that Joshua will fight Wilder. I've never felt confident about it, and for some reason, even if he knocks out Usyk, everyone's like, "Yeah, Joshua's back. Oh my god, man, what a revenge victory against Usyk. Man, he's the champ." Da 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 da. I don't think he wants any part of Deontay Wilder. Think about it. What's up, Mike? Think about it. Joshua Joshua knows what time it is, man. You're sitting there, you watched both are as a matter of fact, you watched all 3 Tyson Fury Wilder fights. You saw your own countryman get dropped 4 times in 3 fights. You've heard your own countryman, who's the biggest heavyweight in the sport. Well, maybe not the biggest, but the biggest relevant top 10 heavyweight, let's put it that way, in the sport, come out and say, I thought I had brain damage. You've seen him in the 3rd fight get hit with a punch so fucking hard his whole goddamn body did shockwave. It was like shockwave therapy from head to toe. Right? And you're not built like Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's got some voodoo shit going on, man, and he's a big ass dude. Right? That's a lot of body falling to the floor, right? And you just don't want any part of that. Because if you get those same shockwaves, that's it. That's it, man. I'm telling you right now. Now, Usyk, to me, will fight him because I just think that's who Usyk is. And Usyk, being a boxer, see a boxer man who moves, who boxes, and tries to use their ring generalship and their ring IQ, always thinks they have a chance against anybody, especially punchers, right? Because if they don't land, then it doesn't matter. I'm gonna outpunch them. I'm gonna outmaneuver them, and that's a good thing about boxers, right? As annoying as Paulo Malignaggi was, and whatnot, Paulo Malignaggi, always had a chance to go and box, right? And even himself, that's what he would convince himself of, right? Every boxer who uses the ring movement, hand speed, trying to be slippery, slip, and all that different shit, they always think they have a chance. But if you're a puncher like Joshua is, because that's what he is to me. He's a puncher that poses as a boxer puncher. That's my opinion. You don't want no part of anything close to Deontay, right? If Deontay gets back to his fighting weight that he was before he decided to bulk up against Fury, right? If he comes into the fight 215, he's going to be too fast, too long, and too powerful for Joshua. There ain't no fucking way. I would bet my house, my whole everything that I own, bro, that Wilder will knock out Joshua. I swear to God. Now with Usyk, I might bet on a couple hundo, right? I might drop a couple hundred on it. I'm not too confident to bet my whole goddamn house on it because Usyk, he's cut from that cloth. He can outbox anybody, right? But Joshua, I'll bet everything that I have on that, bro. I swear to God, Wilder would knock him out in 5 rounds, within 5. There's just no way. There's just no way. The boxing historian was good. L-Dub was good, bro. There's just no way, in my opinion. Length, size, reach, speed, power, fighting at a comfortable weight, 215 to 220. It's a wrap, bro. There ain't no fucking way. People talk, oh, yeah, but Joshua got power. Did you motherfuckers listen to me. I want to explain something to you. I want to make it this abundantly clear. So I'm gonna because I want Joshua fans to clearly understand why this man has been ducking Wilder. And if you come in here with that bullshit talking about, oh man, you never ducked Wilder, bro. Somebody said to me like 2 months ago that Wilder ducked Joshua, some bullshit like that. Look, man, I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Exactly. What's up, Moped? Exactly why Joshua ducked Wilder. It's not rocket science. Okay. Because even if you say, well, Joshua can punch too, that is true. But you motherfuckers must have not have paid attention to the Fury fight. Did you not see this man take the punishment that he took against Fury, especially in that third fight? And he would have taken it in the second fight too if Mark Brunel didn't throw in the towel. This man's heart and determination is undeniable. It's unquestionable. Joshua, though, is questionable. Even if Wilder doesn't put him to sleep, he don't want to get back up if he's still conscious. There's just no way you can compare these two men. Like, I swear to you, bro. I swear to everything that I love, man. Joshua don't know what, zero part. Even if Joshua, and I'll say it again, even if Joshua goes in there and knocks out Usyk, he doesn't want any part of Wilder. And there's like a 60% chance that Joshua knocks out Usyk, Wilder comes back, knocks out Helenius, and then he starts to put pressure to get those belts back. And what Joshua's going to do is he's going to try to campaign and try to get Fury back in the ring so they can do something in London and make a UK matchup. And they're going to pretend like Wilder don't exist, right? And the only person that has that ability or has that card to play is Fury because they already fought 3 times. But Joshua got zero excuses. But don't be surprised if that's how it plays out, man. Don't be surprised. I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now, man. Oh my God. I want you guys to remember Divine Sense, bro. I want you to remember. I want you to remember it right now. If Joshua and Wilder ever fight, if Joshua's ever brave enough to fight Wilder, bro, I'm telling you right now. Joshua, he'll go in retirement, bro. He'll retire. And I'm not even joking. There's literally no laughter in my voice. He will retire. Period. Point blank. Period. Point blank. So yeah. Who's this? Ricochet, big dog. That yuck mouth pig nearly got her ass cooked by knockout 86 yesterday. Oh, I'm not sure who you're referring to, man. I got somebody coming in backstage. Not sure who you are, man, but let's see what's up. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
Yeah, what's up? I'm a new viewer. I'm Cage, as you can see.
Yeah. What's up, Gage?
I'm from Canada, from Toronto. Just seeing
Oh,
what's
cool.
up. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I literally just found this and hit the link as soon as it came up because I'm not watching. I don't go on I'm not one of these people who go and listen in the background or anything like that. I'd rather come up and speak. So I've actually no idea what the hell I'm in right now or any of that.
All right.
But any subject we can talk about. If just to make your panel more interesting. Because I can give you good answers.
Sure. No, I'm just talking about Wilder making a comeback and who he's going to fight next when he comes back. Just throwing some names out there. That's what we're discussing.
Are you in
And
boxing yourself, or do you do MMA or any martial arts or anything?
I've boxed before, yeah, but now I just mainly talk about the sport. I'm not as young as I used to be, so I've had my day. You know what I mean? So, it's now I've just come up here and give my thoughts.
I feel like now
but
you just by the way you responded, I could tell you were a lot better than you're leading on to. You're a humble fighter. any good fighter is extremely humble at base. So that's
Yeah, I've had my day. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
you know, you learn to appreciate the sport. You learn to have a lot of respect for it. And that's my approach, and that's the way that I analyze shit. You know, no disrespect to anybody who has never fought before and they talk about boxing, but I think that if you have a very unique perspective, and it's gonna, you know,
I fought before personally, but not in boxing. For me, I cannot fight boxing because that's not how I was taught. So instinctively, I cannot I feel kind of paralyzed or handicapped without using other means like takedowns or knees or kicks or elbows, stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like boxing is a kind of a simulated event where in real life that's not gonna. It could help you, but somebody trained in other ways, yeah, like a street fight, boxing is not gonna put a boxer up against like a top MMA fighter in their weight class and see how battle gets destroyed in a in a street fight or whatever.
that's an interesting debate. Not something that I plan to talk about this morning, but I've had debates about this before in the past. You know, boxing versus MMA, who has the advantage in a street fight. Look, these
But
type of topics
it's a sport. Either way, it's a sport, and
are
it's the art of the sport. It doesn't. It's irrelevant, really.
right.
I know what you mean.
So what I was gonna say though is that it really comes down to the person and their experience and their knowledge of reacting in a situation. I mean, you can get a guy who trains MMA every single day against a weekend boxer um, that knows how to punch. There's no guarantee that MMA guy is going to win because it's all how you react under pressure. Um,
Exactly. You're
and
exactly right.
so it's very subjective. You know,
It
I've
is.
seen a lot of crazy shit in my life in the street in real life. I've seen fights where a dude just starts kicking the fucking shit out of somebody and the guy just can't stop it. I've seen guys been picked up and thrown down and get a fucking armbar. But I've also seen MMA guys come in and start doing some Muay Thai and they get knocked the fuck out. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it just depends on the reaction and timing. And you know, for me
Like
as a guy, not to throw this live off into this direction, but you know, for me, with the amount of things are different now than it was 15 years ago. A lot of people do train in MMA. They do Muay Thai. They do different types of martial arts. So when you're out in the street and you got a problem with somebody, you know what? You don't know what the fuck someone's going to do. They might try to roundhouse your ass. They might try to do a flying elbow or some shit, right? So for me, I'm not taking any chances, right? So if a guy's in my face, you know, I'm not going to wait for him to try to wrestle me or do some jujitsu on me. I'm going to hit him as fast and as strong and as hard as I possibly fucking can in the face.
well, yeah,
Simple
of
as that.
course.
And
I know what you're saying. That if that's your only other option, like I think the best option is like any real person who knows what they can do to somebody. The best option is to avoid the avoidance. You win every battle you don't fight. You don't participate in, because you could hit that guy the wrong way and then all of a sudden he's dead. You know what I mean? You could hit the fucking cement wrong way and
yeah,
this
for
happens
sure.
all the time. You know what I mean? So
For
you got
sure. And
to.
my advice for people always is that it's probably not worth it. 9 times out of 10, and you're in a situation out in the street, in a club,
Just
at a
get out of
bar,
leave, run away.
it's
You
not
have
worth it. Just
to.
fucking walk away. It's not worth the hassle. It's not worth police or security or other people getting involved or the friends come out somewhere and try to fucking stab you or throw a bottle over your head. You know, it's just not worth it. And a lot of times this dumb shit happens over a chick or some fucking random bullshit or, you know, like if you're gonna fight for something that's real, you know,
Fight for
fight for
something that
something
actually
that
matters. Exactly.
yeah.
Not
And
bull-
a lot of these guys out here fighting for no reason. I can't tell you countless times I've traveled the world most of my adult life. I've been around the world, man. I can't. It's countless times where guys want to put their chest up on you. What's up, bitch, and all this other stuff. I'm just like, bro, like I'm good. Because at the end of the day, like, what have
Doesn't
I got to
your
prove? If
it
I
doesn't
knock some
it
dude out in the
doesn't
middle of the street, what? I mean, like,
that's what real martial art teaches you. Okay, because what I learned was a kind of an obscure thing. Luckily, I grew up extremely poor. My stepdad helped. Like, I don't. He was able to get like, his friend had his own. Like, this guy had no reason to teach any of this stuff. He just like created for no reason. He was like extremely adept in hapkido, not aikido, hapkido, which is like the stuff that the Korean military learns and all that. But it was kind of like this guy didn't teach you the regular stuff. He teaches you like he taught you the fundamentals. Like for example, they have three motifs. The circular principle, the water principle, and the principle of harmony. It roughly breaks down to. So it's the same thing. If you want to win in life, like with anything in martial arts or anything, you have to use the opponent's force against them in a circular manner. You know what I mean? Like you take that force, like for example, if you have something coming at you, you put it on a string and you can, circle it around in a way where you can use the force against them instead of
well,
going.
I've always said that there are three styles of fighting that I would recommend anybody to learn, in my opinion, that doesn't spend too much time on the technicalities. Is learn basic boxing, learn how to throw punches, learn how to defend against punches being thrown at you, basic Muay Thai, learn how to check kicks, learn how to use elbows, learn how to throw a nice, powerful kick, and learn Roman Greco wrestling. Learn
That's
takedown,
that's
learn
very very
takedown defense, and you have those three basic skills. You can be pretty well
all this
balanced.
stuff though. I'm saying all this stuff is based off the same principles, really, my friend. And what I'm saying is this: a lot of it these days, like it's all physical, and we're kind of neglecting the mental and the philosophical, the philosophy behind all of this stuff. I think that's very important too to integrate within your life.
For sure. I tell you what, um, I wouldn't want to fuck with like some Shaolin monk out in China or some shit. They don't look like much, but they'll like do a fucking backflip and kick you in the face so quick, bro.
They have that
Um,
they have that energy like utilized within them.
yeah, it's all about energy and inner power, bro. Trust me. And so those type of the quiet people, the reserved people, the people who mind their own goddamn business, those are the people that I'm worried about usually. Those people just like
The quiet
just
here.
snap. Yeah. But look, man, it's a great topic to talk about. Maybe perhaps one day I will, open up a conversation discussing boxing and MMA. It's a pretty hot button topic. A lot of people get involved in it. I've talked about in the past that got a lot of views, got a lot of attention. It's an interesting topic. And so yeah, man, maybe one of those days I'll talk about it. But I do want to entertain my viewers who have come in today to listen to my thoughts about some boxing fights coming up. So if you don't have anything to say about some of the fights coming up, man, then I'm gonna go ahead and open the panel up for other people. But I appreciate you coming in, man.
I do have a couple things to say about it. What do you think about this whole new boxing thing with this social media, boxing, YouTube kind of? You know what? It does give a lot more, in my opinion. I'm gonna answer my opinion. I think it does give a lot more, attention to the sport. But is it kind of degrading the sport in a way? Letting people who
Are
are
you
not.
are you referring to like Jake Paul and those people?
Well, all this like YouTube boxers and all this like thing, like this new trend that's going on. Like they're not real fighters. Like they have money and they can hire any the best trainers and dedicate their time to it. But put somebody up like you or somebody who actually grew up doing this shit, and they're not gonna stand a chance. You know what I mean? And there's no amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a new age, man. You know, people are chasing clout. I was browsing around YouTube the other day, and there's this channel out there that's gets millions of views that runs around in the hoods of America, like trying to start fights and film it to get views. It's like the dumbest shit that I've ever seen. Where it's like, dude, you can seriously get fucking shot. Like, there's some places in America that they don't care about cam. Like, he's like,
Yeah,
oh,
you're
this is it's a
not
prank, it's
fucking
a prank.
Neo.
And it's like
You're
they
not
don't
Neo.
give a
You're not
fuck if
dodging.
that's a prank. Like,
Yeah, you're
it's
not
dude,
Neo. You're not dodging bullets. Like these guys are dumb. You know,
it's the
fat.
dumbest shit and I'm like, these guys are serious. And people subscribe to these channels just because of like, well, this guy might get shot one day, and I want to subscribe to it. It's the craziest shit, right?
No,
And
that's a fucked up mentality of people.
it's just, bro, it's just a new age we're living in. And we have, before, we had Charlie, whatever the fuck his name was,
Dude,
running around
you seem like a
trying to
fuck.
fight professional fighters.
Finally,
I mean,
you know what? Seeing like coming across places like this gives me hope for the world. I'm not even joking with you. I'm sorry for speaking over you and interrupting you. But I'm saying like people, bro, you are a real person. Finally, fuck.
yeah, it's real over here, man. It's real over here. You can't avoid it on YouTube, unfortunately, because I'm subscribed to certain channels to get my boxing news, my fight news, and I'm subscribed to people like myself who talk about the sport. But you can't avoid some of these fucking videos that pop up, man. And it's just like I click on them a few times, like, what's this all about?
I could tell
And
you're a
it's
fucking.
just the dumbest shit that I've ever seen. And it's just like
Well, fuck them.
if I go into a dangerous neighborhood, what's up, Chavo? What's up, Andrew?
Dude, fuck them.
If
They'll
I go
close
into a
themselves.
dangerous neighborhood
Fuck them.
in America, I'm putting my head down. I'm doing what I need to do, and I'm getting the fuck out. Like, why would you entice people just to? Oh, well, I'm gonna try to get a million views here. It's no different than that dumbass. What was his name? Vlad, something. The Russian dude who running around, fucking pushing people and grabbing women's asses and
Oh,
doing
that dude.
dumb shit like that.
Hey, he said
It's pitiful. It's
said his own
disgusting. And
mother. Bro, that dude said his own mother to strip at the fucking Euro Cup. You know what I mean? Like the soccer football thing.
yeah,
Think about that. Your
streaking
own
at the
mother?
World
How
Cup,
sick are
like
you? How sick are
stupid
you,
shit, bro.
man?
So
Yeah,
yeah,
you know?
man. Look, at the end of the day, being real, being authentic is not going to get you the views and the clout and the fame and the glamour, but I will never be anything else but real. And those who support me and fuck with me will continue to do so, man. So look, I appreciate you dropping in, bro. I'm going to start to swing it off into a few little other topics and then probably close this stream up. So yeah, man, if you like this type of conversations, just subscribe to the channel, man, and stick around. Then it'll be good to have you around, man. But thanks for coming by.
Yeah, bro. You definitely earn a new subscriber. Everybody listening, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It's free, it's easy. Great conversations like this. Thank you for having me on here. And you know what? I might be back another time sometime in the future. But thank you for
All right,
having me.
brother. All right, man. Thanks for dropping in.
You know what I mean? It's time to win. Simple.
Yep. All right, guys. So those of you who have dropped in a little bit later, we talked about a lot of upcoming fights that are, I went down the timeline starting all the way until I believe at the end of this month, we have Danny Garcia and Benavidez. And then down the list we go with some other fights leading into Usyk and Joshua rematch. And of course, I did talk about Wilder and his comeback and who I think he would fight next. We did pretty much touch on a little bit of everything, man. So I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap it up. I don't want to make this live too long because it is Saturday morning / afternoon. A lot of people are at work. They're getting on with their day on Saturday. Typically, as I was saying earlier, I do this type of topic, a firestorm, with several other content creators on the panel. We discuss predictions, and it's much more lively. But that's usually Saturday night where everyone's off work, everyone's chilling at home. But it's just unfortunate. I just can't do it this Saturday night. It sucks. But I am arranging my schedule going forward to free up my Saturday nights to be able to A, do live commentary on fights, and B, to be able to do these Firestorm panels on Saturday night so more people can get engaged, participate in the chats, and stuff like that. So this past July and June, I've just been crazy busy, man, Saturday nights, man. So I'm going to free all that up to get back involved, and I know you guys are looking forward to it. So I just want to let you guys know that. If you guys haven't hit that like button yet, we're 2 away from 50 likes. It would be a blessing if we can get to that 50th like before I end this stream. If you came in late, go back, rewind the tape, and we talked nothing but boxing this afternoon. So it's been a pleasure, but I will get up out of here, and I will be here probably some point next week talking about a few different things. I want to talk a little bit more about Errol, Spence, and Bud. I wasn't able to talk about that in this live stream today, but that's fine. So my next live will probably be about that. And along the way, maybe a few fight prediction videos. And then I'll be here live commentating for the Danny Garcia Benavidez fight. So y'all can look forward to that, man. Whoever just hit that like button for 49 and 50 likes, I appreciate you guys immensely, man, to help hit that like button up. Yeah, man, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to get up out of here, and I'm going to leave this where it's at. Y'all can go back, watch it. If you're at lunch break or you're chilling at work, you need something to listen to. I talked a lot about different fights coming up here in the next 3 or 4 months. So I'm going to get up out of here, man. And like I said, be on the lookout for Danny Garcia, Benavidez. I will be here commentating live. And then we have several other fights back-to-back, week by week, that I will be continuing to commentate on. So I have officially freed up my Saturdays. So looking forward to that, man. And for all the people who did squeeze out time from your workplace to tune in, to hit the like button, I appreciate you guys immensely, man. So thanks again so much, guys. I'm going to get up out of here so you guys can continue on with your Saturday. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.